We're waiting for the thumbs up, but the video has started.
Yeah.
They're working.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
What?
We're ready to go? Okay. Township of Sparta Environmental Commission meeting is called to order at 7:06. We are live in the chambers at the municipal building. Please take notice that action will be taken on the following items tonight, Thursday, May 25th, 2023. Adequate notice of this meeting was provided to the public and the press on January 6, 2023, by delivering to the press and posting on the township website a copy of the notice. You want to do roll call, Michelle, please?
Councilman Dean Blumetti,
Here.
Vice Chair Neil Sauerwein,
Here.
Christine Dunbar,
Here.
Robert Poles, Ted Gall,
Here.
Linda Tower,
Here.
Christine Rogers.
Here. Kim Knoll, here.
Oh, my gosh. You know,
No problem.
Chairwoman Kimberly Knoll is here. Why did you do that?
Salute to the flag. All rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We're going to move from approval of minutes. We don't have any minutes to approve this week. Correspondence. So the first correspondence was from Sussex County Agricultural Development Board minutes. There was no actions taken for any farms or locations in Sparta Township. I wasn't sure if anybody had any other comments, questions, concerns. Okay.
The second farm is something that a lot of conservation organizations have been trying to preserve for a long time. So I'm excited to see it here. The Vosper Farm in Stillwater, 217 acres.
Yeah, I noticed that was really large.
Yeah,
Oh, where's that?
I couldn't give you landmarks around Stillwater.
Okay.
I've been there though. That's great to see.
Yeah. Okay. Next item is the New Jersey DEP correspondence, Highlands I can't talk tonight, applicability determination application. So they are including us as part of the, this act that will be passed. I didn't have a chance to go to, the correspondence basically refers you to a website where you can read more about it. I did not have a chance to go download and view those rules that will be governing the Highlands applicability determinations.
Yeah, it looks like they're looking to do a project or an activity which is going to apply herbicides to manage invasive plant species and encourage native plants. And because this falls within the Highlands region and specifically the preservation area, I believe, they're they're giving notice to all these townships that they're applying to have it reviewed by the Highlands Council, is the way I read it. And, at first glance, I don't like things being sprayed. But being it's in the preservation area, I kind of had a sense of comfort that they are very, very restrictive and very conservative about what's allowed in the preservation area, so that, we probably have our bases covered, is my thoughts on it when I read it for myself.
Right, and they're going to apply them within the wildlife management areas, which I know we have Sparta Mountain, the Weldon
Yeah.
area, but where else do we have? Do you know where else we have a WMA in Sparta? That's
As part of Sparta Mountain.
Those are the only two that came to mind in terms of the preservation area especially, but,
two being Sparta Mountain and what else?
well, I assume part of Weldon,
Well, isn't that, I'm including that as Sparta Mountain, isn't that
I don't know.
contiguous?
I'm not sure, actually. Yeah, it could be.
I would like to speak with the Highlands Coalition in regards to this idea of spraying. They don't really give any specifics, how extensive it is. They don't give any chemical information about it. But I think that by reaching out to Julia Summers and Elliot Ruga, I think that they would have a very scientific opinion of what's, going to occur. And it does say that they welcome any comments you may have on the application.
But I think they would be due by tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
I think so. 30 days after the date of the letter.
Yep.
And I guess a copy of the plan was delivered to the clerk or somebody in Sparta.
That may not be enough time to have them
Do you wanna go ahead and
respond
Reach out and see.
on,
They must know, they must be aware of this already, though, I would think, right?
I would think so because it's 18 different wildlife management areas throughout the area, so they probably have gotten feedback from others asking questions.
And I would assume if they wanted us to comment, they probably would have reached out to you, right? Or us
Possible.
as a board, asking for comment to the E DEP.
If the Highlands Coalition, you mean, wanted us to also comment, yeah, and I haven't seen anything.
One thing that's interesting, it says 30 days from when NJDEP publishes notice of the application in the DEP bulletin. Doesn't necessarily mean that's the same day as this letter. This letter is notification that the application will be submitted to the DEP. So maybe there's a little wiggle room in there. I'm not sure.
I apologize, but I only just got this.
Yeah, no problem. Do you want to reach out, Christine, and see?
I'll reach out, I'll shoot them an email and see what they have to say, and maybe we can just squeak in
Yeah,
if we need to.
I'm
that is.
available tomorrow if we need to squeak in a comment.
Sure.
Okay, awesome.
Maybe
Thank
advise
you
them
for your
that,
interpretation of this, because I was struggling, like, what are they saying?
maybe advise them, Chris, too, that it might have gotten lost in the mail
Hmm.
because I only just got this from Deb on Monday.
Yeah, and it didn't include a plan. Okay. All right, any other comments, questions? Everybody okay with that action? Christine will reach out, and then if there's any comments, we'll submit them tomorrow.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask if anybody remembers that there is a workshop that's coming up in June that really will help us define what things are acceptable in the preservation area. And I meant to sign up for that, but I didn't. Did anybody here sign up for that workshop? And Michelle, do you know what I'm talking about? You or somebody sent out an opportunity for us to attend a workshop that would help us understand how we need to take care of the Highlands Preservation Area and what is allowed. I think that was the emphasis. What is actually allowed in the preservation area?
Was it from Anjac that you're thinking of?
I don't think so.
No.
But I can reach out to Anjec to see if it's one of theirs. Sure.
Christine, was this about the warehouse guidance?
No, it wasn't warehouse. It was specifically for us to really understand what is allowed within the preservation area.
Preservation area, okay.
Right.
Okay.
I'll take a look tomorrow in the emails and see if,
And I'll check Anjec. Yeah,
Okay,
thank you.
that's not ringing a bell to me, so.
No, I'm
No.
neither. I'd like to
Do you remember that?
attend that, though.
you think it was in June?
I think it was in June.
All right, planning board application, this is we have already previously reviewed this one. Last time, it's for that medical campus that's going to be out on Lafayette Road. We're seeing it again because we wanted to, what we're looking at it again
I think
for.
we need to write the memo on that one.
Yeah, okay, so we still have to finish that memo?
Yeah.
Okay,
I know you wrote notes.
I have a memo. It's just not all the way finished, but I will, I'll finish it up and share it because it needs to go to the planning board by this coming week, right?
Yeah. it's
Okay.
the-
So I'll finish that tomorrow and share it with everybody.
Michelle, do you have any crystal ball when you think the planning board agenda and packet's going to go out to the planning board next week? Is that like midweek or end of week for the next Wednesday? I guess as long as it gets in that packet. right?
Yeah.
I'll do it
Yeah,
Friday.
there is, I believe there's packets that Deb had already created, but whatever was in it, they were still waiting for something, so,
Oh, okay.
but the June 7th is the planning board meeting.
Yeah, yeah.
So next week is kind of still the week before that, but I'll check, I'll have to check with Deb, because she's kind of organizing what's going on with the planning
Okay.
board.
Okay.
I'll get it to you and Deb tomorrow then. Does that work?
Yeah. if you
Okay, and
can.
I'll let everybody else have it too.
I'll let her know, and if necessary, if it
Okay.
had to be mailed out on Tuesday when we come back from the holiday,
Mm.
you should still have enough time.
Okay. All right, Sparta High School roof mount photovoltaic, I don't even know how to say that, system solar,
Photovoltaic.
thank you, photovoltaic system, solar capital improvement plan. That was in your email, you don't have it in your packet, and there's also the version of it with the whole, so you can see everything over there if everybody wants to go look.
That one too, I'm pretty positive that Deb said there's still stuff waiting on that,
Okay,
but I do know that because of that rule or that law that you're allowed to give something to it, like you have to review it to.
yeah, since
Probably in
it's
the
on the
letter.
roof of the school,
Yeah.
I did not have any comments on that. I don't know if anybody else did.
It's a good thing.
It's a very
Yeah.
good thing, yeah.
I did a little research. I did well, the Highlands Council Interactive ERI, just to see. I didn't realize that property, especially the lot that the building is on, not the lot across the street, but the lot the building on, is really prime environmental space. It's, Christine probably knows. So obviously there's 1,500 feet of a C1 river, right? The Wallkill goes through there. Almost 70% of the parcel is riparian area. 62% is critical wildlife habitat. It's 75% of it is considered wildlife habitat cores and corridors for the crossing and the pathways of terrestrial habitat for wildlife. Total groundwater recharge area is 34%, and included in that is 15% is prime groundwater recharge area, and it's also entirely in a wellhead protection area. So it is pretty critical areas. Some of the questions I have, and maybe we want to talk about these, or maybe we include them in a report, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Some questions I had: are there any hazardous materials used during installation, maintenance, or cleaning, including chemicals, of course? Is there any excess waste? In other words, what's the recycling process at the end? I know a lot of solar panels aren't really recycled. I think that's something that's being worked on, but so is there required recycling at the end of its life, which I think was 15 years maybe? Some of these types of plants use water or excess water in terms of the process. I'm not sure if this is one of those. I'm not sure what happens when it leaves the roof. Also, is there any pollutants going to be released into the air? So particulate matter, anything that would be released into the air, either during construction, operations, or decommissioning. And then I'm just curious, how will the rooftop installation impact stormwater drainage and snow melt off the roof? Okay, is it being directed one way today, and is that going to affect how it leaves the roof and doesn't get collected maybe, or has that even been considered? So those are some questions I had, and they were all about construction, then operations, and then decommissioning.
Okay.
I just don't have a good view of, once this gets captured on the roof, does it come down to the ground where there's a big transfer unit, or that's where I don't have any knowledge of, you know?
Looking at I don't have much knowledge either, but looking at the plans, they're inverters that, I think they're freestanding inverters that, do whatever they're supposed to.
Yeah, behind a fence, there's a fenced-in area, right, I think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That turns into.
And I didn't see any batteries in the plans either.
No.
Because that was the thing I was looking out for also, was like, if you have a bunch of batteries, how are you storing those,
Mm-hmm.
decommissioning those, how long do those last? But I didn't see any batteries in the plans either.
Yeah.
No, it looks like they're selling this directly back to the,
Right,
First Energy.
yeah, with no battery in between.
Right.
Okay, okay.
And also the company that's doing this is responsible for, removing them when they age out.
I saw that, yeah, yeah.
Do we need to go take a look at this right now, or are we going to wait because there's still papers that we need to include in that?
We can certainly go look. Let's do
why
that.
don't- Why don't we do that? It's pretty crazy, all the diagrams. Maybe somebody can help me understand them.
They're just like electrical.
They're electrical wiring.
They make no sense.
No, it's actually, those are the quick pages. I was hoping one of you was an electrical engineer, maybe? I don't know.
They're, yeah, decommissioning.
Decommissioning. So one thing I don't understand is it's not going on top of the buildings that are already there. This is going to cover land?
No,
No, it is going on top of
it
the
is going on
buildings.
top of the buildings that are there.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay,
So these are the buildings.
right, I
The
thought
land
they were,
is
but,
all around.
okay.
It's not covering any land, only going on roofs.
So the question is, since it's in such a fragile area, then what impact will these on the roofs have on that critical habitat?
Yeah, and I
Surrounding
think
it.
that's what Dean was asking.
Yes. And another thing that I noticed is that, is it this page? Inverter. I know that inverters are very expensive to replace. And I see that they have a lot of them here. And the question I have is why don't they, because when solar energy is generated, it's DC. So why don't they use the DC for their lighting in the building? And then they would need less inverters, because the inverters convert it to AC. And they only have a maximum life of about 10 years or so, and they're very expensive. But if the school doesn't have to worry about that, then it's not such an issue. But what I then would be concerned about is the efficiency, just in general. If it's DC is more efficient, why convert it to AC? So,
Good questions. Yeah. I was wondering why isn't the school being hooked up to the grid, as part of their compensation for allowing it? I'm sure they're just getting a lease payment or something, or some kind of payment from Onyx and
They're selling it back to to First Energy,
right to the grid.
JCP&L. I think that's what I
I
got.
think so too, yeah.
from this. So that's,
So the town gets that revenue?
I would think, or the school. The
Yeah.
school.
I'm trying to see if there was a drainage image, but I'm not seeing one. No, this is,
Doesn't look like they'll be visible either.
really?
You won't be able.
not
doesn't look
really.
like
You won't be
you'll
able to see them?
Low profile.
One of my guesses is that they might need more power, and this will replace heavy-duty wiring coming in from other places. I'm just guessing at this.
Yeah, we're all going to learn a lot from this.
Yeah,
I guess they are putting a chain link fence around it up on the roof.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was on the ground or on the roof, right?
I think it's on the roof because I don't know why they would put it on the ground. It says fence grounding detail, but I don't think it's on the ground.
Are the inverters on the ground?
I looked
I
at this quite a
wouldn't-
bit.
I
I could not
wouldn't-
tell.
I wouldn't
honestly.
think so, but what is a symbol for an inverter?
I guess no. See, they're on the roof. They're here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are the things that break.
That's okay. I think I got most of them.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
So,
Yeah, inverters are on the roofs, I think, so. And then they're putting a fence up here.
couldn't the school use that for their lighting? keep it as DC current and use it for the lighting. I think that would be a reasonable request, and they can just sell the rest to First Energy and get whatever percentage or kickback that they're going to get. I don't know.
So instead of using it for all the electricity needs, only the lighting needs, is that what you mean?
Yeah. Because I think a
then
lot
you
of.
don't need all the inverters.
Right. But it also, I think, it makes sense for the school to be lit by their solar panels. You know, that's just kind of,
Yeah.
makes sense to me that
And
they would do that.
In the big picture, that's probably just a sliver of the energy they're producing, right? Like, it's gonna take to do lights at a high school. Probably, this is probably a huge operation that's sending like, I don't know how many gazillion watts of, there's probably generating a lot of power constantly, and to do the lights wouldn't be much. It would just be a probably
I
fraction.
think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although, whatever deal they made 2 years ago with this company and all the financials, all the business model, that's probably all been signed and sealed
Yes.
already. And whether it's a lease for the space and Onyx is just generating it and selling it on their own, and they're just paying the Board of Ed, whatever, per year, or if there's a profit sharing, like, I don't know how to, But all that's probably been already arranged like a long time ago. But we can still suggest that they consider that as a little perk. Or maybe that's a planning board suggestion more than environmental concerns.
Sure. And did they really look into community solar? That is where I think that we should go, perhaps. Do you have any insight on that? Somebody attended a workshop on
Yes,
community solar, and that would be
I
a
did.
beautiful community solar for Sparta.
But it's, yes, the community solar projects are not, there aren't any in this area now. There's some companies that are doing them, but they're mostly in South Jersey, Central and South Jersey. So hopefully we'll have some here at some point.
So this is a Board of Ed initiative, like it's a Board of Ed project that now is
Yeah.
just coming back to us for approval.
Yeah.
And
And you
even,
could get a new roof too.
I hope they do that first.
Yeah.
They need a new roof because,
Well, how old is that building?
It was 2010 when I graduated.
oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
It was
Yeah.
brand new?
Yeah. Yeah. It
Wow.
wasn't even finished when I graduated.
Really?
Yeah.
Long ago.
This was suggested in the past, putting solar panels on the roof.
Yeah.
Like, it was approached, but it wasn't approved. So it's good to see it's moving forward.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we're in agreement. We'll write a memo with some of those points that we've taken. I can't remember them all right now. I got some of them written down. And then,
Yeah.
go from there.
Yeah. See maybe do a little bit of
Yeah,
digging.
suggest the
and-
light. Definitely let them know that the property they're on is all those critical
Yeah.
items.
Yeah. And
If they
just,
don't already, I don't know if they do or not.
yeah, probably not.
Yeah, exactly.
The planning board for this one is just, it's not a courtesy review, but it's kind of the planning board, I don't think, has full authority to say no to this. I think it's not a regular land use application. It's just kind of a different deal. So it's kind of, almost like the last one we saw, right? Which was, were you there for that one?
The last one.
Yeah, with the
No, I guess I wasn't. That was the
Sussex
one
Tech, where
before.
they're taking that dome
Oh, yes, it
down.
was.
Yeah, so that was, it's not a regular land use application where there's, firm approval or denial. It's kind of they have to let us review it. I think we can give them feedback and suggestions.
Yeah, I mean, they're building it already.
They're
I was
building
at the
this?
high school last night. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
No,
okay.
there's people all over the place building this
Really?
already. Oh, yeah. No, this is underway.
Oh, okay, so whatever suggestions we have would be, how could we help now? How
Oh.
could we help them make this decision, an informed decision?
We're gonna
At
have to
this
ask that
point.
planning board, why has it started? Because there was a lot of pushback about the timing, that they had to wait
Yeah,
from the planning board attorney, so.
Well, I
it's
mean, are
interesting.
the solar panels there? I don't know. There are flags and stuff and
Ah.
some equipment there. Like, are they actually putting things in? I don't know.
Yeah,
Like, I'm not
yeah.
trying to say that.
Oh, no, but
Right.
yeah, I wonder if it should start, we'll have to ask
they
that.
haven't hammered and start hammering on the roof
Yeah.
yet.
Hold it up.
But like, the equipment is there, the
Really?
flags are around the edge.
Okay,
So that I can say
Want to start as soon as school ends, which is very.
probably what they're doing.
so they can
Yeah.
finish by
Yeah.
opening a school.
Sorry,
I wondered-
I hogged the plan. I don't know if anybody
Oh,
else
that's,
needs
I already
it.
looked at it. I was wondering how many of those panels they're using. This is 1 point something megawatts, is that what I saw? Oh,
Is that it?
says-
1
Yeah,
million.
1 million
1.1 megawatts.
Yeah.
I don't have much of a scale for relativity on that. Like,
Sounds like a lot.
sounds like a lot. All right. It's a big space. A lot of panels. It's a big roof.
Yeah,
And you use almost every area. It's amazing.
good. Happy to see this.
Actually, yeah, you guys can stay there because
I know.
we're going to look at the next one too,
Oh.
right?
Finishing up.
Yeah. So Dean, you rattled off a bunch of, 62% was in the,
You want me to email to you?
yeah, can you just email
Yeah,
me?
they're like
those? Okay,
7 points, I think. Yep.
I'll do that.
And then a couple of those questions, I think.
And
that
this
you-
is going to the planning board on June 7th too?
Yes,
Okay,
The request.
that's true. That's the request.
the request, okay.
Yeah.
Any other comments, questions on the solar panels?
Yeah, I think we should ask them, this would have been excellent to get Sparta started with its own microgrid. A microgrid is kind of an energy center that supplies a municipality or several municipalities with energy within their community so that if there's, what it does is it provides resilience if there is a problem with the larger mains, with, storms or things like that. And microgrids are very efficient, and you can add to that. You can start out by having like a gas backup or a generator backup, right? And then as different businesses or people start generating extra electricity, then it goes into the grid and it can be distributed out to all the homes. But this is what is coming in the future. And I'd like to ask that question. Did they consider Sparta as a location for a microgrid to provide energy resilience within our area? And I also would like to ask the question, did they consider at all looking at some sort of a state or community solar type of program
Okay.
for that school and in considering that? And it's important that they would not have to, the school wouldn't have to, or we wouldn't have to pay for the replacement of all those inverters. And then the other thing is that, can they provide direct lighting to the school?
Right, I wrote
Yeah.
that one down already.
Those are great questions I would also include in the planning board meeting as well, like directly and see how, when they're here, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Any other comments, questions?
Some of the other schools already have solar panels.
Yeah, the middle school does. I don't know about the elementary schools. Okay. A new application came in. This is for Delmar Woodport LLC. It was previously approved last year for apartments and I think a business area, business on one floor and apartments on the other, but they're changing that plan now for medical offices. In particular, they're looking for a variance for less parking spaces rather than more. They're required to have 98, and they want to put in only 91. Do we want to look at the plans, or?
I can give a little more context too. So when this came up last year, there are two lots together. So this is over by the Askin Law Building across from the Shell and that kind of where East Mountain hits Woodport Road. And so yeah, the second floor is supposed to be the apartments, I think 4 two-bedroom apartments. They came more recently to the planning board site waiver subcommittee, so it was looked at. But it was deemed, because it was this kind of change, it had to come back to the planning board. So that's one aspect of it. When they did this last year, the existing building on one of the lots has residential apartments. And they agreed to make one of those very low income housing and make that part of the deed ongoing. And for that, they got a special waiver to go above 40% impervious surface to 50. I'm not sure if it's that direct of a link, but that's what they were granted. So they're allowed to go up to 50% impervious. They came in, I think, at 53 something, and last year's, the planning board approved that. The part of the reasoning, I think, was because when you add those two lots together, the total impervious was like 37, because the other lot had less, so together 37. Whether or not you agree with it should be viewed together or separately is, a different story. So, yeah, so now they're coming back looking for, I think the parking issue is just purely a planning board issue. That's probably not environmental commission issue. I think that's going to be addressed with the planning board, because they're looking for a waiver or variance on that.
That seems like a good thing. Smaller parking lot, fewer parking spaces.
Yeah, I mean, the ordinance says they have to have a certain amount.
Right,
Yeah,
but
just
the way they calculated it with the hours.
the hours of the, yeah.
supposed to be used.
Yeah. If you assume the residents are not going to be there in a day, depends on what kind of residents you have, but yeah. So now it's going to be a 2-floor medical, I think it's a cancer treatment facility that they're going to do there. So some of the questions that came up in the past were, and also I think in the engineer's report, were about medical waste and things like that. How is that going to be handled? Is there any environmental concerns? And I think you saw there was a response to that.
As far as the parking goes, do you think if we recommended no long-term parking because of the reduced spots, that might help? No long-term parking. Also, one thing I noticed is where they were putting the addition on a slab, they're now recommending a basement, a foundation under it. And I don't think that'll have any effect on anything really. But it was just that they are making a change there.
I saw that the basement would only be allowed to be for storage, right? Not for additional apartments.
They're saying,
Yeah. So, right now, the impervious surface was already granted last year. And most of this was already approved last year, so there's not as much, as opposed to a new application that came in, there's not as much leeway to, take that back.
Right.
And the only variance is the parking.
For now, yeah. Last year it was the impervious surface, it was a couple other things.
That's why they bought that other lot to combine the two, right?
I think they already owned both lots for quite a while, yeah, so. But there is a stormwater basin, I think, down at the triangle, kind of by Sparta Hardware, kind of where, you've probably seen that. I don't know if there's any plants in there, I haven't looked, or if it's all rocks. So, I mean, there's one thing maybe we can suggest, is that they put native plants in there using that same language from the other one.
Okay.
They did specifically say that there was no changes to the drainage proposal. So that would have already been approved.
Yeah.
So it would just be like hey, this is a nice thing to do, and we would appreciate it as the town.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was kind of my take on it. I didn't want to, if anyone else has anything yet. It is also 100% in a wellhead protection area. The tier 1.
Okay.
I think we had recommended a catch basin in that triangle that's down by maybe we want to recommend a rain garden and the catch basin.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Okay. Awesome. I captured those ideas and we'll also put those in a memo. Is that a June 7th too? You guys are killing me.
I don't know.
I think so. I'll have it.
Yeah.
We'll do it fast.
I mean, the also, I don't know if you had a chance to look at last January's Environmental Commission report. I mean, one interesting thing was the recommendation for, well, native non-invasive plants, but also the permeable pavement. So we can reinforce those things again,
Yeah.
because, if they're still doing this work, there's still an opportunity to use some of that permeable pavement.
Sounds good.
Looks like the application was signed on 4/12, so you have the 45 days from that to deem it complete. So I'm not exactly sure where this is at with regard to that,
Okay.
although there was a lot of stuff that went out today on it.
Yeah.
So,
All right. That is correspondence and applications. So now we're at public comment.
Kim, excuse me?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't know if anyone still wanted to, I didn't want to like say we shouldn't look at it. I just wanted to give you
Oh, yeah.
the context that I had up to that point. So
Yeah.
if people want to look at it or,
I looked at it online beforehand. so I- Okay. All right, opening up to public comment, but seeing nobody from the public here, we'll move on to reports. Dean, do you want to go first?
yes, sure. So from the town council meeting Tuesday, that's the latest. I think I covered the previous ones before. So, not to steal the thunder, but everybody knows already. So the Great Waters Resolution was presented and passed. So that was great news. There was a little bit of discussion, but not too much at the meeting. And it's going to be sent to the governor, Sparta's legislative representatives in Trenton, and also I asked them to add on to that the commissioner of the DEP specifically. If there's any other ideas, we can talk about that too. But that was what was approved as of now
Can we
in the
get,
resolution.
I'd like a copy just to share with Anjac.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And actually, yeah, and they'll forward it to the Great Waters collection of people. Okay. Second, on a different note, the salt, there was a resolution to approve an actual bid to build the salt shed. So 2 months ago, or a month and a half ago, was the ordinance to fund it, to create the bond. And so this was actually the bid, a couple of bids had been received. This was the lowest bid. So the engineer and DPW recommended, and the town manager, this was the one to go with. So it was a significantly less money, which was the good thing. Several $100,000 less. It's still a 10,000 ton salt shed. So there's a little discussion. I made a few points on it, and it was approved 4-1. I did not vote for it, just because of the size. I still think we can be very happy and very comfortable with an 8,000 or 7,000 ton salt shed, and based on some rough calculations, still save another few $100,000 if you just extrapolate down from the last estimates to these and the differences and going down in size. So that's why I think we need a salt shed. I think we need to do a lot of road salt management down the road, but I just thought it was still a little oversized and we could have saved some money. There was an approval for a township engineering firm, so that was approved. It's on an interim basis, perhaps maybe to the end of the year, but there's still plans to hire or expand an in-house full-time engineer. So that's the gentleman that is here is it was an interim basis, so that's winding down. So the town is going to be using an external company who actually is Pello and Associates, which is the same as the planning board engineer that's been here for a long time. That you've seen Mr. Simmons reports plenty of times in these packets. So they're great firm. So that was approved. And then finally, the business development committee was finalized and approved. So that is going to be up and running again. A little different scope and charter, but we're excited to get that moving again. So I have one more item for new business, but I'll save that till later.
Okay. And Christine, do you have a report from the planning board?
Yeah, I just want to mention that on the last meeting that I attended, we looked at a presentation, and what it was is a suggestion for a new ordinance for the PCED zone. And one of the highlights of that was to downsize the maximum square footage from 40,000 square feet to 25,000 square feet, and wider setbacks and other things. So several people spoke and urged us to do much, much better with that zone, which contains also wetlands. And yeah, basically to just take, that was the actual public comment is that we had 6 or 7 people, upset that we weren't protecting this because it's such a busy area, and they're very concerned about the traffic and the degradation of their home environment here. And the reason why they moved here was because of the rural atmosphere, and they're stressed out about the traffic mainly, and concerned about keeping it looking like a hometown, their hometown. Nobody was in the audience that spoke about wanting that to be developed and urging the development at all. And I wouldn't expect there to be. But so that was the most of our meeting. And then you probably know that they decided to accept applications for a town planner and planning board attorney. So they're looking for applicants at this time. Yeah.
I could just add a little more context too about the zone. And there was definitely the sentiment by the public, at least people who spoke, and people on the planning board too, that long-term, we really should do more for that zone. I think maybe what the intent of this evaluation right now that's happening, and it's still going to happen more now because of that feedback, is to just do a short-term risk management, like a gap fill, to kind of make it stricter and make it more in line with what we see as the future, what we kind of want. But the changes that are allowed now are extremely limited because of the master plan. So there's conversations and there's plans to either redo the master plan from scratch or to do significant portions of the master plan. And that is kind of the ruling document. Once we do that, then you can align the ordinances and the zones to that. Because the master plan says, for instance, that fast food restaurants are desirable in that zone and some other things, you really have trouble just ripping them out. You have to change what you can. You can change the impervious surface coverage allowance. You can change the building size or the setbacks. You can do things like that, or make sure that they have to come way off the road to get in a line if it's a restaurant, not back up onto Route 15. So there's different things that the subcommittee is trying to do right now for the short term to manage it, and then hopefully get in line with the longer term vision when we do the master plan, if the timing works out. It is private property.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing that they made clear is that it was not an option to just, say, we're not going to develop that area, because the master plan says that that is an area for development.
Yeah, exactly.
That was, and so there was a lot of people that really urged the planning board to start looking at the master plan and doing some hard work on it and make some changes.
Yeah.
So are there ordinances, forgive my ignorance, are there ordinances that say we must follow the master plan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just the way the New Jersey land use law works. Yeah, the ordinances and the zones have to be consistent with master plan. In fact, anytime there's a change like this, and like last fall, there was a change to the ED zone about warehouses, a required step is it has to go back to the planning board and it has to be a master plan consistency review. And it has to be, there has to be a tie into the master plan. So, yeah. So it is kind of like the guiding document while, until it's changed.
All right, thank you so much. All right, unfinished business. So we did get the ANJET grant for the Emerald Ash Borer Arbor Day reforestation event.
Great job.
Yay. Thank you, Christine,
Excellent.
for all your hard work writing that grant.
Thank you.
So we did officially sign it today and accept it, and the project needs to be completed by June 1st, 2024. Don't panic. So I was thinking we should get together a subcommittee who will do the planning. I don't know that we need to start it right away, but I think, at least start thinking about what the plan will look like so that we're not rushed at the end, like next year when we're approaching Arbor Day and we're like, oh no. I like to have the plan in hand and then we can go from there. So I don't know if who's interested in doing that. I'm definitely interested.
Yeah.
Christine Rogers? Okay. All right, so me and Christine will definitely be on that. And I'd also like to think about folks in the community that we would want to partner with. Like I was thinking, again, reaching out to the eco clubs at the schools, seeing if they'd be interested. And then we can think about what other organizations might want to partner with us.
I wonder if the recreation department in Sparta would be inclined to join us in that effort.
I had
Yeah,
that thought
when
too.
when it was written, the Sparta Parks and Rec said they would like to see what trees are being planted and weigh in. So
Yeah.
Wonderful.
yeah, that's easy.
And can you send the text of the grant around? Or do we already have it?
The one that we submitted or just the
Yeah,
letter?
one we submitted.
Yeah. Everybody got it before, but you weren't here, so I'll definitely send that
Thank
to you.
It's basically, it's just it's involving all the school eco clubs in planting at the Glen, Sparta Glen, to replant trees that were lost in the canopy because of emerald ash borer is kind of what it is in a nutshell. So it's funding some trees, the protection for the trees, and signage. So it's a $1,500 grant.
All right. Dean already said the Great Waters Resolution was passed. So that's awesome. Good job, everybody.
Great job, everyone. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was well written and the data was great. It really helped.
Yeah. Do you want to give the invasive plant update or would you like me to?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. So we do have a working draft of an invasive plant ordinance. But several things happened that we don't have it for everybody to review just yet. Today, they were at the legislature, the New Jersey State Legislature was actually looking to pass a bill about invasive plants. So we wanted to see what that looked like and make sure we're not doing anything too different or could piggyback off of that.
Did that pass?
I did not hear yet. I was working today,
Do we know
so
the bill numbers?
off the top of my head, no. I don't think I have it
It
written
was in
down,
the email you sent,
Yeah.
the bill number.
but I don't remember off the top of my head.
No, I don't.
So that was the one thing that we definitely wanted to wait on and see what that said.
There's no new news on Google.
Yeah. And then the second thing is we want an opportunity to talk to folks, maybe master gardeners or involve other folks in it just for a review to make sure if they have any feedback that we're incorporating that. But we are making progress. We have a working draft.
Which
Any-
was, Christine, thank you, pulled from a lot of what you had.
Yeah.
Sort of Frankenstein together from the best of what you pulled and maybe like one or two other things we found. So thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Anybody have any comments or questions on that? All right. You have a draft of the annual summary report that goes to the town council and the town manager. I've kind of been updating it as we go along because it's very hard to remember what happened 3 months ago. So started out with, let me just talk through what's included in here so that when folks look at it, they understand. So it's from a June 30 to a June 30 date. So it's everything that's happened July last year through the end of June this year. It talks about our current members. We'll cover how many meetings we had by quarter. It includes the planning board applications that have been reviewed by quarter. And again, I'm trying to keep them as we go along. And then it asks that you include any additional activities, which could mean any number of things. So community engagement, environmental improvements, group infrastructure. I just kind of, like the last bucket is a whole bunch of stuff that you can kind of highlight what you've been doing. I don't know why this large annual report thing showed up on the end, so I will delete that. But if you see any other changes or items that I forgot, please let me know.
Two things. One is feel free also to change the formatting or the sections layout. This was just, it's not required, so.
Yeah.
Secondly, I'm trying to think if we have, this says planning board applications. I'm wondering if did we have zoning board ones or are they mixed in? Do you recall?
Last year, did we have any zoning board ones? I'd have to go look.
I have to look too. Yeah, I could double
This
check as
year,
well.
I've been basically keeping track since Q1, and I don't think we had zoning boards.
Okay. Yeah, I don't recall this year if we had any.
But I have to go back and put Q3 2022 in there too.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is just the draft. We have still, next month is, so we'll have 2 meetings, but that second meeting in June, I'm not here for it, so Neil's going to cover that. But at that meeting, that'll be the final version to approve. I imagine it'll have changes right up to the end because we'll have to keep track of the planning board applications or like as those get approved, we might have them even in June.
Did you just mention that we had that other presentation on the plastic bag ban? Is that what you just?
That happened last spring, so it was in last year's June 30th report. Yeah. So I didn't include that one. Again, this is not your last opportunity, but if you see anything, let me know. Okay. New business. I think this is from you, Neil, right? Facebook, social media, you wanted to talk through.
Yes, well, I don't know where we stand on this, if we presented it to anybody about having an environmental commission Facebook page or so, Twitter account. I know I brought it up in the past, but
I don't know about the Facebook itself. I mean, you're welcome to always request something to be pushed out, but you get approval from the manager because it would be coming from Mike, who is the webmaster.
Okay.
So usually when something gets put on there, like news and announcements, it pushes to Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that. Like I think we did that
Like
for
when we
Earth.
do a press release, because it goes through
Yes,
the
the press
approval
release,
process.
exactly.
It gets pushed out through
Right.
Facebook.
I don't know if
because there are a lot of other environmental commissions in other towns have, their own Facebook pages where they post
Okay.
informational.
I could definitely find out about that.
Items.
Find out if we're allowed to have one.
Yeah. See what the ramification, where,
Right.
I'll look for another town that has that.
Summit is a good one.
Oh, good, thank you. I do think we had
There's some
tried to
other ones.
mention this before and some even came up, but
I guess it would have to be approved regardless of, if
well,
it's,
if
if
it's
it's a
coming
yes.
out through the township, I'll have to find out.
Yeah.
That's really something new to me. I didn't think of that when it was put on there. I
Yeah.
was actually a little curious myself when it was on the agenda. And whether or not can the environmental commission just create one? Does it have to go through the township? Obviously,
Right.
you
That's
wouldn't
the
be able to,
question.
and who's gonna monitor that?
That's the thing, we have to
Right.
make sure there's coverage, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotta make sure there's nothing
Administer it.
inappropriate on there. Like, I think the police have their own Facebook page,
They
but
do.
somebody's monitoring it, and they can also see what the person is responding or putting on there, and they have the choice of saying, we don't want that on there.
Right.
So, I'm not, I have a page, but I don't really have time to go on there a lot, so I'll look that up and I'll find out. That's
Okay. Yeah, because I think we wouldn't want to burden township employees
No.
with being admin or anything like that. We'd have to figure out if we're allowed who would be the admins and kind of what our guidelines would be for that.
Maybe I could reach out to another town and see how they do it.
Oh, that'd be great. Like if they had a Facebook environmental commission policy or something, or how
Right.
they, just guidelines about how they manage their page. That'd be great.
Try to do that.
Okay, wonderful.
In the meantime, can we put out the ANJAC and the Great Waters, the ANJAC grant and the Great Waters resolution on the town's Facebook page, just to say,
Do you want to we could do a press release for it. Yeah,
That's a great idea.
okay.
yeah, even if it's just a Facebook page, that might just be an easy, like tooting our own horn kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll check on that too.
We should send it to, the Green Team distribution email too. I know it's fairly small still, but so the public can know.
I think it's up to 40 or 50 people though.
Oh, it is? Ah.
I think so, right? Am I thinking of
What'd you
it?
say?
The green team has about 30 or 40 people on it
Oh,
now?
yeah, we do have that, environmental, I can send out, I could do that. I didn't even think of that, but that's an email.
It's an email.
Yeah.
It's an email to everybody on there. And I think I
Yeah.
do have to add you to that general one, Linda. I will, again, definitely just keep looking into this because I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't see why not. It's an email.
We can do a quick press release for the Great Waters Resolution.
Yeah, be nice.
Do you want to do that from the town council, or would you want it to come from
See,
us?
that's the one thing with that. I
Mm.
don't,
I mean, the council doesn't do that for other ones, so I don't know if it would be out of the ordinary to do it for one only.
well, that, or at least on our on the environmental page. I don't see why it couldn't be put
Right.
on there.
Yeah, yeah.
At least. But being it's a township, oh man, I guess challenge it. in a lot of ways. But I'll definitely, research that because, ownership and I'll research that.
Okay.
Maybe the grant would be an easier start.
The grant might be.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
All right. Any other new business? I think, Dean, you said you had some new business?
Yes, two items. One is, I think I saw earlier today, some of you may have seen this in the news, that the government just weakened or maybe weakening the Clean Water Act,
The Supreme Court.
Supreme Court. I don't know if it was,
It looks like
Final?
it's going to eliminate half of protected areas.
it's going to cut out wetlands from being included. I'm not sure, that's probably too broad of a summary,
Yeah,
but
it's-
something to do with wetlands not being as protected, right?
It looks like it's going to have a big effect,
Okay.
Affects us with the DEP, and NJDEP. I
Yeah,
don't know if it's gonna have any ramifications there.
yeah. I thought it caught my eye in that today. Okay, yeah, I just wanted to mention that. The other thing that I really wanted to mention is the town council, initiated by town council, but along with the planning board and perhaps the environmental commission, if we're interested, we'll be planning to have a joint meeting, probably in July, a special meeting to have the Highlands Council come in and speak about a couple things with the Highlands Council. For instance, learning more about the planning area of town. We have the preservation area and the planning, about half each. So learn more about the planning area and ask questions about that and learn more about what we can do there and options for that. Also, I think there's a water quality management plan or something that the town had started in the past about our water. And I think this would give us more information and maybe funding to complete that. And also there's possibly funding opportunities regarding the master plan and things like that. So it's just going to be a meeting, to basically to have them present a little bit and then ask questions. So the thinking is that we might want to have, two or at least maybe even all three of the statutory boards present and not have it to be conduct regular business, but we'll have to go through the noticing and all that. But, and just basically to include, those groups and people who'd like to come and have that in, I think mid to late July, I think is the initial target timeframe that people are thinking, but way more TBD on that, but just wanted to get a sense if people seem interested, and
Oh, yeah.
I think, yeah, that's what I figured. Okay,
I am definitely.
okay,
That sounds like a great idea.
yeah, yeah,
That's the council, right? Not the coalition.
correct, council, yes, yeah. So, okay, good,
Yep,
that's all I had.
great. All right, any other new business?
I just wanted to mention that I attended the Kane University Bio Blitz.
You did.
Ah.
I went on Saturday.
Oh,
I did a
jealous.
couple of things. Yeah, it was. I wish I'd been able to go on Friday too, but I wasn't.
Yeah.
I did a couple of walks. One was with the plant expert identifying plants,
Yeah,
and the other one was the birding walk, and we looked at different birds. And it's a very nice campus. If you haven't been there, it's open
Yeah.
to the public.
It is.
It's beautiful there. There are trails and there's a lake and observatory. This big platform with a
Yeah.
catwalk. Have you
I
seen
know,
that?
it's really nice.
Yes.
Yeah,
And also, one thing that stuck out was that the two experts who were, the plant person was a walking encyclopedia of native plants. And they both don't live in Sussex County, and it really makes you appreciate the diversity we have here, because they don't see all the birds and plants that
Wow.
we see
yeah.
around here.
Yeah, yeah.
Did it seem well attended? Was there quite a few people or?
It wasn't a big crowd, but
Right,
there was a significant number of people there.
nice.
Speaking of diversity of birds, side note, have any of you use the Merlin app?
Yes,
By the
that's-
Cornell? Okay,
That's what they use.
okay, so, oh, really? Okay,
iNaturalist was the one.
Okay.
For cataloging plants. It was really good. You could take a picture of a plant and it would go into their project. So they had they had that set up there. It was very good.
yeah, I'm learning more and more about the birds just on my property. And if you don't know, Merlin now has a sound identification.
Yes.
So you just put your phone on your window or your deck. I did it from my home office today because I heard all these birds. You just put it there and let it run for a minute or two and identifies all these bird calls. And it's incredible to learn what's actually around us. To talk about diversity here, it's amazing.
Yes, that's what the bird woman mentioned. All these birds have their sounds. They're mnemonics to remember them, and I can't remember any of
Yeah, yeah.
them. But
I was just wondering if we're going to be at the Sparta Day. Did we decide not to?
Yeah, we
to
had
exhibit?
decided not to have our own table.
Okay.
There was some discussion of doing a joint table, but then I don't think that ever came to fruition.
Yeah, I looked into seeing if the council or if any other entity here was going to be doing some kind of booth, but there was nothing this year that I heard of, so.
Well, we
Yeah.
did the fair, the Earth Day fair.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
lot to do both.
Yes.
don't you think?
That, yeah.
Yeah,
And I'm there for other organizations.
Yes.
And I think several people said they weren't available, so then we were going to have trouble manning the table, so, yeah.
I forgot to mention, a couple weeks ago when we were talking about invasive plants and just sort of community outreach, we talked about a possible a speaker that we could ask. And I reached out to the Rutgers Master Gardening Program. And the woman who runs the Master Gardening Program said she'd be very happy to come and do something for us.
Oh, great.
We would just need to decide what exactly we wanted and, when. And we had talked about maybe doing it with this ordinance if we move it forward. But I wanted to throw it out there as an option regardless.
That'd be great. Would she be willing to review the ordinance too, do you think?
Oh, she might, yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, because I could see us, having the ordinance ready, doing some kind of educational thing along with the introduction of it to share with the community. And then, I don't know if the timing would work out exactly, but then town council getting it or town council gets it first and then we do a community education, but we could talk about how that
Yeah.
would work.
Great idea, yeah.
And opening it up to the public would give us the opportunity to get points for Sustainable Jersey for the public education as well.
There you go.
yeah, we could even have a native plant sale.
There you go. Yeah, invite native plants, or seeds maybe. Yeah, because I don't know that we're going to make it by June 30th this year.
Yeah.
Because we're going to have, yeah, June's crazy. So I think it's probably like more towards the end of the summer or fall thing.
A good time to plant shrubs.
Yeah, totally. Or hand out native seeds, because then you can sow them in the winter.
And also, from a council standpoint, something like that would actually be an ordinance, not a resolution like the water. So
Right.
what that would mean is then you would have an introduction of it in one meeting, just high level. And then the next meeting is when it's the hearing for the ordinance. So that's when actually the public would ask questions, comment on it. So there'll be an opportunity for public input there as well. And it'd be nice to coordinate that timing if we
Yeah.
can do that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Educate them before that and then they can ask the questions they want. Yeah.
All right, great.
Good plan.
All right. Anything else? Awesome. Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second?
Neil seconded. Meeting adjourned. Thank you so much.
Excellent. Thank you.
Oh, one thing I forgot to ask is when is our next